Hello, everyone. Hi, Adrienne. I'm here with Adrienne Jamiel. She comes to us from New York, Manhattan, and all fancy. And she's been a yoga teacher instructor. She doesn't even like to call herself teacher and instructor because she's the founder of a Dharmic Institute. And what impresses them the most, she's been in the same field for 30 years. She has discovered and has been taught that yoga actually for should be taught separately for women versus for men. So before I met Adrienne, I didn't know about that, right? Yoga is yoga. So now I'm very aware of this, and that's been very impressive. However, today we're not going to talk about yoga per se or what Adrienne does, and that the reason is this week she's a featured guest on my podcast, and my podcast is our podcast interview is already airs everywhere, so you can easily find it, and you can go to radiantmastery.com/podcast to find Adrienne's interview about yoga like a woman. And also I will be airing on live Adrienne's interview this week as well. So there are plenty of opportunities to see her interview. So it's a shameless plug-in of the podcast interview. But today we're going to talk about also a fascinating subject, divine guidance. And Adrienne, before she met, so this is how it works in the world. That's why it's so fascinating, because when we meet new people, we don't know how they will enrich our life and how we will enrich their life. So we see that daily with Adrienne and how it works. So we're business colleagues and we're together in a mastermind. And so she enriched my life by, enormously about everything, but also about yoga like a woman, right? And I believe I enriched her life, and we can confirm it with her, by introducing divine guidance science, a fun topic. And she reported to me that, and I could see it actually all the time at our meetings, that she has tremendous fun with divine guidance science. She accepted them, she just started using them, and she's having a lot of fun. And so, is that true, Adrienne?
It is so true. So I would say that I don't know that. So let me say, I come from also a background of Jungian psychology and doing 8 years of Jungian therapy, which really helped me out. And one of the things is that the signs are called synchronicity. So it's not like I didn't resonate with synchronicity, but when I met you, it just really blossomed into this fun. I mean, I remember us sitting outdoors in South Carolina during our mastermind, and three of us there having a dialogue about signs and how that would be, and talking to the couple that just had their anniversary celebration of 50 years. And you're saying, oh, this is a sign. So I guess part of it is that when a sign comes up, you're so fun that you're so fun. You go, yay, look, it's a sign. So let's see. I'd love to share the sign I received this morning.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
And what I want to make a comment about that. You're absolutely right, because I usually do not want impose my beliefs on anybody, because I didn't come to you, Adrienne, and I said, Adrienne, you have to learn about divine guidance science, right? No, I'm just yapping because I'm having fun. I don't care what others think, because I could get to. I remember there was a moment I was at the medical office, and there was a guy, a man. I have no this man, whatever. And so he was in a T-shirt, Liberty T-shirt. It was the Liberty Statue of Liberty, and then the flag, American flag, and then something else. I mean, all attributes of USA patriotic stuff, right? I got so excited because to me it's a sign of liberation, liberty, freedom, all of that. And so I was so excited. I said, "Oh, can I take a picture of your shirt?" And I started talking and I said, "Oh, this is so great." And he just loved that I guess I was having fun with it. He let me take, usually people do that. They let me take a picture and they usually prepare for it and they stand and they pause, right? So it's just fun. And that's how I introduce this divine guidance science topic to people. And I don't mean to, I just having fun with it.
Yeah. And I think I love fun. If it, for me, it's that is like an underlying energy in all things I hope to do. So it has been fun. So today, I am in private practice, and we can consider this being an entrepreneur. It's a business. And I've been in private practice for 40 years, full-time private practice in New York City. So I also now am training yoga teachers, and I had a whole training program on Teachable and all of that. And I've taken that down, and I've just been sitting with the tech and how am I going to go? What's the movement that's going to happen now? And I've let that be. And this morning, a woman that I trust, who actually helped me get the virtual assistant, Yanni, that I love, just wrote in saying, "Oh, Kajabi," who's an online platform that does most of what I need to have done, is doing a 3-month program for $99. And if you sign up through her, which I can't say no, it's an offer to say yes, she'll coach you, she'll give you 2 coaching sessions and all. So that's my sign. My sign was, let's move it along, honey. Let's get you back onto have a course. Let's do an email and a community. And they have all of the different attributes that I need. And I've been wondering how to do. And so the $99 for 3 months and her coaching, it was a sign.
Very nice. And you felt okay. How did you know it was a sign? And remember, this is just informal conversation. This is not it's not a official interview, right? We're just chatting because Adrienne did not take my program of any sort. I didn't teach her about divine guidance science. So this is just how it spontaneously evolved, because every time now we meet weekly, we're in mastermind, and every week I will come up with some new signs, and Adrienne would always say, "Hey, I had the sign." Oh, and she gets so excited about it. So she's very expressive by nature, I guess, and it shows. So that's why I invited her to talk today about signs. So how did you know it was a sign?
Because I can feel in my work, and I will use the word business because we're, business, in my business, that it was ready to birth something new or continue on. So I could feel that, but I really felt like I was overwhelmed with not knowing. And so I have learned to hold that. That's what I can do, is just hold that. And it was really uncomfortable yesterday. And I felt a lot of what I imagined was sadness arising. But whatever it was, I don't know. But it was a real intense feeling that I was saying, okay, okay. So that's one setup, which is I'm not sure what's happening. I think I'm a little sad because I'm not sure what's happening at this point in my work. And so, but I held that really strongly yesterday and didn't react, didn't do anything. I did a lot of crying.
That's a good thing.
I did a lot of crying because it felt like sadness. But clearly today when I woke up, I don't know what it was. And I'm okay with putting a word. I didn't know. But I woke up this morning, whoa, I feel great. And I'm going, wow, whatever that was yesterday, I could hold that with my joy. So that's the setup. And when I came to my emails today, this woman, Jen Lira, who I know for a number of years now, and like I said, I've already used her online service for hiring a virtual assistant. So I trust her. So the sign was, I knew what Kajabi was already. I am on different platforms, and I know Kajabi weaves all the platforms that I'm on together. So the sign was, I woke up, I felt a lot more my joy and my energy. And then there's Jen saying, hey, $99, 3 months. If you want to explore putting everything, she didn't say it this way, but this is what I know. I'll have Yanni, my beautiful virtual assistant, work with it for 3 months and see how it works and set it all up. So the sign is an offer I couldn't refuse.
Do you feel well? That's a good point. By the way, there will be in my invitation coming up for the masterclass. So maybe that's a sign the offer you can't refuse, right? About my
Right.
masterclass. So I'll talk about it later. But very good. And by the way, I can't help myself, of course. Blame it on a business day, like day job, business job, business day, whatever the expression is. So you said yesterday you were crying and today you felt joyful, right? You slept on it and then in the morning you woke up and you felt joyful. Just a clarification point. Do you feel with that sign that came for $99 a course, did you feel like it's the new beginning for something? Like Yanni will be learning it and then it will be new beginning for you for the next chapter.
That is not even open to debate for me. That was
Yeah.
why it was a hell yes or a hell no, and it was an absolute hell yes. And all of what I thought was unclarity or whatever was happening yesterday that I was able to contain. Um, uh, I realized this morning when I woke up that I was feeling what I said, sadness arising, but I was also able to stay with my joy. Now, whatever that feeling was, definitely was a little bit bigger than what my typical joy feeling is. But I realized I also got the sign that what I did with holding whatever that was, and not being so attached to saying it was sadness or whatever the heck it was a pretty intense feeling. That was the transition too, is to show me I can hold that. And then the next chapter stood up. So it could be, we could make a lot of story. I'm a big story maker. I could say it was the sadness of leaving everything I had done before. I mean, really, I'm going to have a new website. I'm going to have a new course, everything new. So with new, there's still goodbye. So who can say? I don't know. I'll go with that story. I was sad because
Well,
I was, yeah,
you're making amazingly tremendous point because we just simply call it death and rebirth. So, and it doesn't mean you died physically, and it doesn't mean you died whole life. You died, but you did die yesterday, and that's what you were doing. You were in the process of dying. It's grieving. So you've
Yes.
been grieving because you were letting go of the old, whatever that part was, and now you woke up because usually it happens overnight, which I usually teach, and we've tested it and it always happens overnight.
Wow.
And then the next morning, hey, I'm already talking of what I do and I didn't even plan. So this is how it works. Lives are not scripted, not planned. That's how I usually do all my interviews and talks, conversation. And so the next morning, today, you woke up and that was your rebirth. Or maybe right now it's happening, your rebirth, because now you got the awareness of it. It died before, you died before yesterday, and now you're on the next level of vibrational frequency, and that's your rebirth because you are getting conscious awareness of it. Does it resonate with you?
So this is what resonates is grief rather than sadness. So that's a little shift for me because I know I absolutely have welcomed grief as a part of life, so that I can't feel my joy unless I am willing to feel my grief. I just didn't necessarily recognize it yesterday as grief, and it was just feeling like sadness. But that's the first piece that resonates. And then the second is it was Easter. I mean, okay, and I totally did not get that. I did not until this moment that, yes, Easter Friday goes into the cave, Easter Sunday rises up, the birth, and it's
That's
spring.
right.
So,
That's
yeah,
right.
so that is, but this is why I love these signs. It's so much fun.
That's right. It's so much fun. That's a
It's so
great
much fun.
transition to back to science. So much
Yeah.
fun.
And it makes sense. I mean, it gives a story to the feelings, which I think that we are storytellers and story feelers. So it gives a great satisfaction to feel. It was grief. And what would you have is when everything goes into the cave, it's kind of like a grieving. It's a grieving. I mean, if you want to look at that, the story, the Christ story, there was a grieving that Christ was dead. And all of the people that were in that community felt Christ, their person, their brother that they loved was dead. That's sad. I mean, we have sadness and grief. So
And today we're talking about, so resurrection already happened yesterday, and today we're talking about rebirth, right? Because when you grieve and when you die, usually rebirth happens because you're talking about new level, new Kajabi level, new whatever, new knowledge and new website, new everything, right?
Everything.
So that's definitely
New
a
everything.
rebirth.
New everything.
In fact, talking about that, I was very aware. Usually, I don't wear jewelry generally. If maybe people notice, maybe not, I don't know, but I don't. And I want to have a shout out to my friend Stephanie, who actually sent me unexpectedly a box. So I open my door for something else, and suddenly I see a box. And the box is, so I bring the box. I had no idea what it was. Had no idea whom it was from. So it was very unexpected surprise. And so I opened the box, and there was a full setup of new makeup. And so Tithe money, makeup, and this brooch. And this brooch immediately caught my eye because it's a peacock brooch, peacock feather, right? And so peacocks carry tremendous meaning for me because I drive on the road here to take my daughter to school, and there are two peacocks who live in the house, so or outside the house, right? And so they always roam. They cross the road, they roam around the road, next to the road, outside the fence. They're not fenced. They're not fenced in. They just can come and go, and they are calm and they're standing. So not every day. So, but it's been several years already. So every time I see my friend, I call it my friend Peacock or two peacocks. So my friend Peacock, it makes my day, right? I mean, how amazing you see a gorgeous bird on the side of the road. I mean, we're not in a zoo. I don't work in a zoo. So suddenly it is a peacock. And so recently the peacock showed all it was a male peacock, it is, and it showed all its tail. So usually the tail is folded, and this time it was all open. And of course, I always know it's a sign. So peacock used to be, I thought it was the ego, because they say, oh, he has inflamed ego like a peacock, right? But then you start thinking, so here's a teaching point, how we recognize the signs. So, but the bird is not in the ego, because the bird is, right? It doesn't know about the ego. It doesn't know about vanity. It's just a bird, and he's created this way. So he has the tail. He knows that he needs to open it to attract the mate, and that's about it. So to me, it's not about ego anymore, right? To me, it's about self-value, self-worth, because the peacock just so beautiful, and it doesn't have to show off. It doesn't have to scream on the corner, look at me, I'm so gorgeous. He just is, and he has this beautiful tail, and it's a joy to look at him, because for us, we just enjoy the peacock tail, right, with beautiful. So, and today for the first time I put it on. That my whole story led to the point that I put it on today for this live for the first time. So to me, and new makeup, I also put this new makeup on me. So it's the rebirth, it's the new, because the new makeup, the new brooch, everything new. So amazing how we did go through the period of death, crucifixion, resurrection. Yesterday I was on live talking about my view on Jesus's death and resurrection, and then today, and you said you died and then you were reborn. I mean, I don't know if people interested in it or not, but it's so fascinating, right? Right now, it's so fascinating. On live, talking about unscripted thing because it just happened.
Yeah, just yeah, I just I don't know for me that this is a belief because it just is something that happens. It's kind of like saying that I believe that flowers bloom. It's like I don't have to believe it because I know what a flower is and then flowers do bloom. So I guess it's just having the eyes to see.
Exactly. We call it awareness. Eyes to see means awareness. I'm aware that flowers bloom. I'm
Yeah.
aware. And how many people drive past and don't see that flowers bloomed?
Or the peacock tail.
Exactly. And how many people passed by and didn't even pay attention that the peacock is there?
Yeah, right.
Not to say that it's a sign. So people say, "Oh, I don't see any signs." Well, because there's no awareness. That's all. When you become aware of it, when you know about it, so you've learned that okay, there are signs, so there are coincidences, so there are synchronicities, and now you can notice them, right?
Yes, and that raises up the, I don't even know where we were. I don't know when I heard this. It might have been on your one of your podcasts or yeah, about you have to ask. That's the difference thing that happened with this Kajabi sign is that while I was in that grieving or whatever that is of letting that happen, I was like calling out big time. Hey, what's going on? I need help here. I don't know what's going on. Help, help, help. And I was like, yeah. I mean, really, that's one of my friends have said is that you got to be the squeaky wheel. You know, that's what
Right,
she did.
because ask and you shall receive.
Well,
Because we have free will. If we don't ask, we will not be given because we choose not to be on our own and not ask for help or not ask for awareness. So yes, that's a very good point. Ask for to see the signs and you start seeing them. And of course you have to pay attention.
well, yes, I'm not, I wasn't specific saying, help me see the signs. I was saying, just help me. You know, I was asking for help and the sign came up to point what my next step was. So I'm very clear about the fact that that sign, what we might call a sign, was the help. And if I had missed that, then I'm not suggesting I wouldn't have gotten help some other way. But this is not, this is so clear about what many of the next steps have to be to move, to have a flow in my work. I mean, it's just it. Everything is in that Kajabi platform that I need to be doing. Or at least
Right.
Yanni needs to be doing.
Annie got more learning to do.
Yanni, and she's good because I love her so much. She's always saying, okay, what's our next project? So we just finished a huge project of transcribing the the lectures that I have, and that's done. So it's like a perfect time. It's like it couldn't even be better. She's saying, what's the next one?
So it's a
And here
perfect
comes the sign,
flow.
Yanni.
Perfect flow. There are signs that
Perfect
guide
flow.
you to the next level because you could have missed that offer and not to go that direction. And yes, it
Wow.
usually the signs are persistent. So, but they're not flashy. They're not very much in your face. The ego speaks in obnoxious voice, but signs, divine guidance signs, they're soft and they will not be pushy, but they will be there. It's like inner knowing, okay, I need to do that.
Yeah. So there's one thing that I must say is that my ego says I'm not pushy. So no, I don't, maybe that's the way that some egos have shown up. My ego does not tend to be that way only because I really wasn't born with one so much because I was enmeshed with my mama. So mama's ego was my ego. And so I had to learn how to do that. And mine has never been very strong. That's what I consider. I might be flashy and dramatic, but I'm not clear that that's my ego telling me. But in any event, I want to honor how pushy there are many pushy egos.
Right, right. So, Adrian, out of all, you've gotten many signs by now, right? Would you say that you know, periodically you see here, you see there, and how does it make you feel?
Absolutely. You mean when a sign pops up and I know it's an
Uh-huh.
arrow?
Uh-huh.
I can say is that the big mastermind that you and I were in together, that was an absolute sign. Is that I saw one of the partners of the mastermind group, the gentleman, Blue, and as soon as I heard him in like 8 minutes online, I didn't even know who he was. I went and signed up. It was an absolute felt sense in my body. It didn't even go up into my head. It was like, take action. This is the way. You got to sign up with this guy. And I didn't think about it. I think that's a big deal for me too, which I'm really happy that I don't do a lot of thought when I have the physical sensation of this, what we're calling the sign. As soon as I have that feeling, I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and it's a big feeling when it's the sign.
So how does it feel? What do you mean big feeling? You described yesterday the feeling of grief, right? Or sadness, you said. So that was also the sign. That was a sign that you were grieving, right? That was the sign. You might not say it was a sign, but it was, because that was showing to you what was happening. The death was happening. So when you feel something like you described, take the plunge and do it, whatever it is. How do you feel? You said it's a
Wow.
big feeling. What else?
This is so amazing because you and I, as you said, you've not coached me in this in as a client, but I have been with you long enough now. I think I've known you in our other mastermind for 2 years and stuff. So this is exactly what comes up now is your description, which green light flow. So I would
Aha,
never
we
have
use my
described it
language. That's a good
right.
sign.
I would never have described it that way until I heard you say, and it wasn't even to me. You might have said it to Bernadette or something, green light flow. But that is a way that you describe it, and it's the feeling I have of an uprising of energy and excitement. And so I'm thinking that's what you reference as a green light flow. Is that not right?
Green light flow is a more than that, but it's the beginning. It's the sign that yes, it's good. It's right. It's appropriate. It's approved
Right.
by the spirit.
Oh, I got it. Because the flow is something more, but the green light is it a green light or a red light? That's okay, that's great. Actually, that's a very that's I see it's not the flow yet, but the flow is going to be all the things I think we do in with Kajabi, my
Well,
newsletter,
right,
all of that stuff. But I have an
right.
absolute hardcore hell yes,
Green
which
light. Yeah,
could also
right,
say a green light, a hell green
right,
light. Let's
right.
go. And then my
And
energy is like I'm in a race car, like really a Jaguar or something. And as soon as I see it, it's 0 to 60. And that's what it feels like. It's like, go.
you just described it perfectly. That's what I wanted to say. Once you approved by the spirit, because once the spirit gives you the sign, then you get into that race car and you just go. But you still have to drive, right? You still have to take actions, because in the Kajabi, you still have to take actions. Yanni
See?
has to still do the work.
Yes.
But it will be easier, it will be smoother, and that's where green light flow comes to play, because flow means I'm still driving, but I'm in a flow. It's like uh, you said, well, I usually describe red, green light all the way. Like when you drive on the road and you sometimes see green light here, 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 you see several lights and they're all green lights, and you go without stop, versus red light, you catch red light every single stop.
Okay, so I live between in New York City between Amsterdam Avenue and Broadway. And on Amsterdam Avenue, if you catch the light, you will have a green light for a mile, 2 miles, all the way
Oh,
up.
wow.
It is the most fun. And if you stay with the proper speed, then you don't jump the light and you don't catch. And it's just so much fun because you could see ahead. There's a red light, 2 lights ahead. And as you approach, green, as you approach, green, and that's the flow. It's a very
That's the
wonderful
flow.
feeling, right? And it's
That's
fun.
the flow.
That's the other thing too, is it's really fun because it's not like something terrible is going to happen if I hit a red light. I'll just have to reconnoiter, or it's not a big deal. So I don't think that it's not like it's the end of the sign. The sign's still in the flow. It just needs to change it a little.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You described it perfectly. Now I should remember those streets and talk about specifically New York streets. And that's how, when you want to know about green light flow, go there and drive that green light
Absolutely. Every
corridor.
block. I mean, it's like really, it's we're on a grid. So it's every block, and you could see the lights change all the way up the avenue, saying,
Right.
come on in your sport car. You got to drive, but you're in the flow.
It's funny. One of my clients described green light flow as like you sitting in a chair and the chair is being brought by itself. So it's like, I would say in the car, you are in a cleaning, right? Car wash. Also, your car is going. But yours is more business-like because get in the race car and go, not even the
Yeah.
chair, you're in the race car.
Right. And we also I love the idea of the car metaphor, because then I have the right to go faster or slower, but I need to do that only within the green light flow, because I can't go faster up Amsterdam Avenue, or I'm going to reach and catch the red light.
Right. And if you decide not to follow green light, then it's up to you. It's your responsibility, and it's fine, but it's up to you. You could slow down and miss the green light entirely,
Right.
and then you will be on your own. So that's another point, because divine will not push you to follow divine guidance signs. You can see the signs, but it's up to you whether you follow them or you don't. You could say, yeah, I see the 99 course, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to buy it for Yanni. You could say that. It was your privilege, I guess.
Yes. But I guess then that feels uncomfortable, because it would be going against my physical inner knowing. It's not just the external sign. The sign is there, but really it's only meaningful because I'm convicted that that's the direction. That's why it's meaningful.
Right. Very good point, because how many people know it's right and they still do the wrong thing?
Oh, and my work is, how many of us don't know it's right because we're not connected to the inner field. That's what I do. That is my yoga, which is we want to be authentic in our body and feel what that is like, so that I can feel when something is meant for me or not. Really, that's what this is about, is that I have to be able to recognize the feeling.
Right. So again, it's about awareness. It's about connection. It's about knowing who you are, knowing your feelings, knowing how you react, and being aware that there are signs outside yourself, but you have to bring them in. You have to, I mean, they come from inside, of course, but you see them outside, and you have to connect with them. You have to react to them, and you have to make a choice to follow or not to follow. So it's a big system there.
You have to make a choice to follow or not to follow. Wow. So this is the thing, is that with what I do with yoga poses, is that if you're given supposedly the right sign, and this is applicable too, is that in our business, the right signs have been male-based oftentimes, male systems oftentimes. So if we get confused and think that those signs are our signs, and then we don't think about it, we just follow them, that's the other flip side of this, which is no, not all people telling me this is the right sign is accurate. It's I have to know that from within.
Right.
So,
right. It all starts from within.
It's all from
and
within.
Here is the perfect moment. And then I have a question for you afterwards. So here is the perfect moment for me to invite everybody. Well, if you're a woman entrepreneur, and if you're not entrepreneur, that's fine too. If you are interested in this conversation, in this topic, and want to know more about divine guidance science and generally how to connect from the inside. So it's the way of, okay, I'll just say it. I'm inviting you to my upcoming masterclass. It's this Saturday, and it's called 3 Keys to Unlock the Door to Divine Guidance. 3 keys to unlock the door to divine guidance. Isn't that just exactly what we were talking about, right? So how to do it and what exactly you need to know about divine guidance and what to do with it. And so go to radiantmastery.com/masterclass. It's right on this moving banner, moving whatever it's called, and register radiantmastery.com/masterclass. And we will have a lot of fun. The class is ready, and I'm inviting you to join. And Adrienne, I would like to ask you one more question, and we're finishing. So I don't want to put you on the spot. So if you can come up with it, it's fine. But what would be your most favorite sign you've received so far? If you look back at everything since you've met me and you heard me and you started recognizing it, what would be the best one? And of course, there are a lot and you forget about them, but if you remember, what would be the fun one?
And you need it to be since I met you or anytime?
No, no, you can do anytime, but the one you were aware of.
Okay. Oh, this one was a huge one. That is when I was maybe 40 years old. I got assigned to go to Greece by myself, alone, to do some. I have no idea what. There wasn't even a to-do list on or anything. It just said go to Greece, and I went, "What? I'm not. What are you?" Yeah, that was it. That was my sign. Go to Greece.
How did you get that? Go to Greece. The voice of God. How did you hear it?
I was crying in the bathroom, saying, I don't, just something. I'm crying. Yeah, crying is a good little sign for me to know that maybe a sign will come if I ask. I didn't realize that. So I don't know. I'm crying in my bathroom in a position. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what to do or whatever. And I hear, whoa. Actually, I heard, oh, I really heard when I was crying over there. I told you to go to Greece a year ago and you didn't go, so I'm not telling you anything else. I mean, that's absolutely what I mean. It didn't have a really big, it was intuitive and it wasn't a male voice or anything, but it was definitely that, which is,
Was
you're
it a
here in the
voice or
bathroom.
was it a thought?
Pardon?
Was it a voice or it's a thought? Sometimes actually we think it's a thought, but it's actually a voice. So it's hard to say. I know it's hard to say, but just for the sake of it.
I have it was a something, whoever it is, it personified. So I'm okay with that. Whatever that inner knowing was, personified it itself into, and it was definitely a male voice because it had a deep thing, and the way even the cadence of it said, um, basically, I'm crying in the bathroom asking for help, and that was the answer. What am I going to do? I already told you a year ago to go to Greece. Basically, it said, what do you want from me? That's what I told you to do. Didn't do it. That's okay, but don't be crying in the bathroom saying, help me, what am I supposed to do? And the answer was clearly, go to Greece.
And so you went to Greece, right?
I did. I went to Greece by myself. It was an incredible experience that I am sure affected me on such a deep level, because I went to travel around, didn't know what I was doing, had no idea, and ended up going to Delphi for a day, supposedly. And people saying, oh, Delphi is just a day trip. There's not really much there. Staying there for the whole 10 days of my trip was in Delphi, where the oracle was, and making friends with the gentleman who was the person who was the guard and the take care of the whole Delphi place, who unlocked a gate for me of a place that was restricted and no one could go in, so that I could actually go into the deep place where the river, where all the Greek poets went to bathe and to purify themselves in their art. And I washed my hair in that river. So talk about going to Greece. I washed my hair, and you can't do that. It was a locked place, and my friend got to know me and he let me in. So
wow.
That's the story. I washed my hair in the same place where all of the Greek poets went.
So we're looking again at another teaching point that tells us when you follow the divine guidance sign, when you are connected to it and when you recognize it and when you follow it, the result is better, much better than you expect. Because you expected to go to Greece. That's it. You didn't know what would happen.
I know.
And during that time, you actually got better results that
Wow.
you could expect.
Right, because I had no idea. That's it. The other thing that was is that there was a whole walkway next to the museum that had the crevasse that Sophia, because the mythology is, Gaia was the person that had the oracle, and that then a girl sat on a stool and was the oracle for Gaia. And then, of course, Apollo came and took it and made it a male thing, but that's besides the point. So I'm standing there, sitting here, and there's the place that is the cleave in the rock where the stool was supposed to be. And there's this little rope barrier, like a 12 inches high, saying you can't go in there. I mean, you can't go in there. And so I'm sitting there and am I crying again? I think I'm crying again because I can't get into where I want to go, to this rock where the literal oracle sat. And so I'm sitting there kind of like, oh no. And then this gentleman comes with his wife. She's in a total white sari. He's in a total white suit, a Nehru suit with the collar, because I'm sure they're from Pakistan or India. And he is on the path and he just looks and he just steps over the rope. But it's not even, it's 6 inches high. It's not like it's a big wall. And he just steps over and he puts his palms down to the earth and he says to his wife, oh, the energy is very strong right here. And then he stepped back over the rope on the path and they walked away. And I went, okay, then I am going. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. And I hopped over the rope and I went and I sat in the cleave of the rock. And the way it was that nobody really could see me because I was in the crevasse, and I stayed there for all hours until the pot closed. So yes, another sign. I didn't even remember him.
Wow.
It was a big trip. It was a big trip. I washed my hair. Oh, I need to really gather this in. Thank you so much, Irina. So I'm telling you, I get working with you, because this is like working with you, is what one does is retrieve the signs of your life that are significant. I washed my hair in the place where Ovid came to be purified as a poet. And then I sat in the oracle's crevasse in Delphi. I have lost that until this moment. Wow. Wow.
Feeling it? You're feeling it?
Wow. I'm getting little tingles. What I'm going to say is that poetry, the creative poets in the oracle. Okay, I'll take it. I cannot see how this wasn't the message to me. This is my work. An oracle in the art.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, then I get it. Woo!
And you just described one of my past lives, but we're not going there. So we'll talk about it later.
Wow. This really is so helpful. So this is great because I am very much clear now at taking what I do out of trying to please teachers who I love, but that's not what this is about. That's not what my work is about. So, hooray!
Yay! Yay to the science and yay to the insights.
Yes, thank you.
That was perfect. I would like again to invite you to the radiantmastery.com/masterclass. It's on Saturday, upcoming Saturday, and it's called 3 Keys to Unlock the Door to Divine Guidance. And you can see that this is a topic that every single woman needs to be very proficient with, because it's your intuition, it's your internal divine guidance. It's your spiritual GPS, I call it. And if you know it, your life will be so much exponentially better, richer. And divine guidance flow, you can go to New York and just drive through the green light, and you will understand how important it is to be able to drive from that street to another street in Manhattan through green light
In
traffic
Manhattan, right?
in Manhattan. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Adrienne. And remember, I'm going to air Adrienne and my podcast interview about yoga like a woman this week. So stay tuned in because it's coming. Thank you, Adrienne. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Irina.